Farming's getting way more expensive to do.
You know, all of a sudden we are looking at $450 per hectare in one single commodity input.
The margins are that tight in ag some years that the best farmers survive. Bad farmers unfortunately go broke.
Being really focused about where you put your resources is the only way to be profitable.
By using technology, we can save an awful lot of money in our commodity inputs by putting them in the correct spot.
Precision, the quality, condition or fact of being exact and accurate, is typically associated with high-tech industries such as aerospace, automotive and information technology. But as we move forward in leaps and bounds in technological innovation, the science of precision has made its way into the most fundamental industry on the planet, agriculture. Driven by a volatile economic environment that's seen input costs soar in recent years, farmers in Australia are now employing precision agricultural solutions to help reduce costs and optimise valuable resources.
Precision ag is about having a granular perspective on a plant or an animal and its performance. So it's being able to get it down to that sort of micro level of one thing and how is it performing.
Precision agriculture started in the late 80s, early 90s, with the availability of positioning technologies, GPS or global navigation satellite systems more broadly, in the public domain. So, we started by tracking harvesters around the field as they're stripping grain off the crops. So we were creating yield maps. With yield maps, farmers started asking questions around, well, crikeys, if that part of the paddock is different to this, maybe I should be doing different things in each part of the paddock.
Australian landscape is very variable, highly variable. And so there'll be patches of soil where putting lots of fertiliser on is a great idea, and there's other patches where you're wasting your money.
So precision agriculture then gave way to prescription agriculture, tailoring inputs to the needs and requirements of meeting productivity targets.
In the grain industry, for example, as well, it's about making sure that there's fertiliser to seed as opposed to fertiliser to paddock, or fertiliser in a specific area of the paddock where we have a nutrient deficit, rather than blanket spreading.
Fast forward to today, and that level of precision, the level of which we can generate insights, is now occurring all up and down the supply chain and into our marketplaces.
And it's taken quite a while. It's taken 20 years. It's taken 20 years to get to a point where we are starting to feel comfortable about being able to interpret some of those pictures that we've been able to generate for a long time.
And so precision agriculture today is about doing a lot of things with precision and in fine choreography.
Established in 1872, Jarrett Farming is a 10,000-acre cropping operation located just outside of Maitland, South Australia. Over its illustrious 100-year history, the farm has evolved and adapted to changing times, combining traditional farming values with cutting-edge technologies. Paul Jarrett, sixth-generation operator at Jarrett Farming, is embracing precision farming technologies to counter fallow weeds.
Weeds they're a thing that I think every farmer probably around the world fights, and it's crucial that you do get on top of them. You can't afford to let them get away. The impact that weeds have on your crop can be massive, in the fact that it takes out yield, takes out moisture, takes out nutrients. There's a whole range of things that weeds will smash you on.
Here we've been dealing with Jarrett Farms for 25 years, probably 3 generations. Weeds, at the end of the day, are a significant cost to a grower, whether it be through the cost of having to apply herbicides, the cost of machinery to deal with weeds. Through the growing season, they cause significant competition to crops, which affects yield in turn, and right through to harvest contamination of weed seeds. So maybe not being able to deliver a product based on weed contamination.
Got cow chop that can come up. We've got fleabane, which is a new one that's really come up. That's a real prick to kill. There's numerous other ones that come up summertime that are what we're finding increasingly hard to kill, and that's why we're probably going to that next step now of trying to, okay, what do we do to keep on top of these weeds?
I mean, it changes the look of the machine.
Does it come down this sort of height?
And run them both on rollers, so that you just...
Oh, that'd be good.
Playing around with the idea of putting...
In the spirit of collaboration, Paul has partnered up with Hardy Australia to help develop, test and trial a new precision farming solution, GeoSelect.
I'm pretty sure I got it on my laptop if you don't.
Hardy, here in Australia, they've been going for quite a while. They've been based here out of Adelaide, which luckily it's on our doorstep. We've been in and out of the Hardy product a little bit. You know, when we first got into sprayers, we've had the odd Hardy boom spray. So our interaction with Hardy have been that because we have been using their product for a while, they could see that we could provide benefit for them and they could provide benefit for us. So they've jumped on board and came over and used some of our farm to try out new ideas. It'd be good if they could make it that you could somehow drop this down.
Paul's been a great partner in the R&D process. He's got a lot of diverse paddocks. He's really easy to get along with, and he's good at giving us feedback.
I know Heath very well. Heath Thompson at Hardy. He's a very smart bloke. He knows his stuff inside out. He's been out here on a 42-degree day that, you know, you can see the sweat pouring off. That doesn't matter, you know. As long as he's getting the job done, he seems quite passionate about getting the outcomes, I suppose, achieved.
I like solving problems for people. That's my driver. You ask farmers, how can we make your lives easier? And weeds usually is in the top 10 list, and it's usually on the top of the lists.
He's the go-to man for me if I got any issues or any new ideas, I suppose, where I can say, look, we need to be factoring in this weed, we need to be targeting this. I'll go and have a chat with him and he'll make things happen to help develop that.
Coming from the construction machine control industry, that was a very precise, survey is centimetres and millimetres. And when I moved over to ag, what precision ag was not precision in my mind. A lot of guys will set up their machines just using their feet, not even using a ruler. These guys just walk it out. And then they're asking me to hit weeds that are the size of a bottle cap. It's an example I give when people are trying to understand what we're doing. That's what we had to correct, is to make sure that we're measuring where the nozzle's spraying so that it's accurate enough to hit these small weeds. What GeoSelect is and what our patent is about is the processing of the data on the sprayer itself. We wanted an open system that would allow farmers to use local drone contractors, different technology as it came out from different sensors, and so it allows them to adapt to new technology quite rapidly. So our input data is an open system, but the GeoSelect itself allows that all that data to be used in a very accurate way so that they can actually save a significant amount of chemical using easy to access data.
Yeah, what is GeoSelect? Or pretty much in a nutshell, I suppose, is that we've got a paddock, we go and fly it with a drone. What that's doing is mapping the paddock. It's mapping the paddock for weeds. It's then working out, okay, what percentage of that is to be targeted. That data is then getting put straight into our Hardy Rubicon sprayer. We then go out with our GPS on the sprayer into that same field that's been drone mapped, and we'll go and spray, and it will selectively spray, targeting those weeds.
The Rubicon was an interesting sprayer to start with GeoSelect. The main reason that we wanted to start with that is because there's a lot of limitations with other selective spraying technology on large booms. GeoSelect overcomes some of those limitations, and we can go out to 54 metres. So for us to solve that problem was imperative. We wanted a selective spraying solution for broadacre farmers, and broadacre farmers in Australia it can be a 30,000-40,000 hectare exercise.
Currently we're in our summertime here, so we're doing the green on brown spraying, where if the weeds are green, they're easy to pick up on the drone, so the contrast is good, and we can go along, selectively spray those green weeds in amongst their stubble or brown soil. Seeding window is sort of that April-May period, so after that we'll get a flush of green come up when the crop comes up. That's when we'll refly the drone again. We're going to then be actively trying to target those weeds in crop, but not having to apply chemical over that whole crop, because every time you apply chemical to a crop, there can be side effects to the crop. You can knock back your crop by 10%.
After 12 months of rigorous testing, the positive impacts of GeoSelect are now starting to manifest themselves.
There's a lot of chemicals that we're applying in crop that can be residual type chemicals. They got an effect 12 months down the track, even depending on what chemical it is, can be further on. It limits what crops you can grow the following 12 months. We want to be able to keep our options open, that, okay, we don't want to be limited so much as to what crops we're growing the following year. We want the ability to be able to grow most crops every year. If we can do that, that's only going to help us. The other factor we've got is the soil. The soil health, by not blanket spraying, is going to be so much better by targeting those weeds.
If you look at a blanket spray versus a selective spray using GeoSelect, if you get your timing right, you can get your ROI on these precision spraying systems within the first year.
Financially measuring the benefit of the Hardy GeoSelect, it's instantaneous at times. For example, the other day we did a paddock, we covered 13% of that paddock with the chemical, so we know straight away that we've saved 87%. We've still got to go over that paddock, like there's a cost of running your machine over a paddock, your labour involved, all the rest of it, but the chemical saving is huge to start with. It's not always 87%, can be sometimes 40, 50. It varies depending on paddock and weed loads. You get an instantaneous benefit, but we can see other benefits down the track, as in your soil health, as in the green on green type capability in the future. So we're taking it as a long-term project. The technology's there, so that once the hardware's fitted, it's going to be there for a while. For me, continuing farming on beyond my sixth generation is imperative. I don't want to be the one out of the six that buggers things up. I've got three kids come along well, they're just about adults now. They want to keep the show going. So we're trying to do our best to make things work to do that. And one of these that we've looked at is the hardy GEOS Select, I suppose, is that we're not buggerising our soils up, and we want to make sure we keep that in as better condition as we can, because we can see that long-term benefit. If we can eliminate some blanket sprays of some chemicals that are unnecessary, I feel that, yeah, we can continue that into the future.
With every new innovative approach that disrupts the old methods of industry comes a period of trial and error, and this is no different for Agtech. Farmers like Paul Jarrett play a critical role in helping innovators like Hardy get the solution right. But this hasn't always been the case in Australia's Agtech industry, and the need for collaboration with the farming community is a critical step in Agtech's evolution.
You know, there's a lot of complexity in this sort of biophysical world that we operate in a farm. You know, you've got all the natural sort of capital elements, and then you've got, you know, the market elements, and you've got, you know, the business side, and then you've got the environmental side. You've got so many things that you need to do and do well.
So Agtech is it's making a huge impact on how farms are managed. You might have a view that there's a farmer sitting there or managing a farm, and they're doing it in isolation. They're doing it on their own, on their farm, and that's not the reality of modern farming. There's a whole community of experts that are collaborating.
There are so many facets to farming. A single solution standing in isolation of its own may solve a single acute problem, but it will have very limited use to a food producer that's got to deal with a whole range of inputs at any one time.
It's super easy to think you've got the solution to a farming challenge and get busy trying to build that, and then bring it to the customer and say, here you are, we think this is going to solve the problem that you've got. Only to find the nuances of how you would use it and what the environment is that it's used in are the reasons why your product doesn't work.
The road to innovation is littered with good ideas. Right? The ones that succeed, the ones that really cut through, are the ones that are sharing experiences.
It's quite exciting. A group of farmers working with the technology developers to get the algorithms to whatever needs to be done, develop the app, get the right interfaces, the right APIs, pull the data out of wherever it's stored. And so that to me is quite an exciting development, and I think that is sometimes a missing piece.
It is absolutely fundamental that there's that connection between the user, so designing for their world, and informing that into the development of your solution. That is where we see successful Agtech companies really thrive, is they get that right. They engage the farmer and they design a solution that is fit for the farmer's needs, not what seems like it's the right solution back in the lab.
Precision agriculture today, as opposed to precision agriculture in the late 80s, early 90s, has way more dimensions. It's doing lots of things with precision. Expecting producers to take the next GeoSelect solution or product up tomorrow, no, it's going to be another 25 years, or sure, we can accelerate it if we pay attention to the way adoption works. And we've got some good rungs on the board with precision ag to date. So at the end of the day, there are some really good widespread use products and services coming from the grains industry, now in the livestock sector, now in our horticulture and agriculture industries. We just have to, again, make sure those products and solutions are fit for purpose.
In the next episode of the Agtech Revolution.
Farming was perhaps considered a lifestyle, but it's certainly a business, so.
You measure, you can manage better. You don't measure, you'll manage.
IoT allows you to have this view of everything that's going on all the time, right in front of you, anywhere in the world.
I can monitor the moisture in each crop and make irrigation decisions without having to travel out to that farm.
Grandpa would have only dreamed of sitting in an air-conditioned cab. You know, he didn't have that at the start.
They're way better farmers than I ever was. Well, they got technology to work with and they're using it.